Hi, I'm Martin from AMS Turbo, and today we're talking about absolute pressure versus gauge pressure. Now, before we dive into compressor maps and looking at those, we need to understand the difference between the two, absolute pressure and gauge pressure. So first, we'll talk about absolute pressure. And that's what's used on compressor maps. A lot of OEMs use it for calibration. And that is really pressure referenced from an absolute zero or vacuum. And for example, we're probably around 500 feet above sea level where we're at. So the absolute pressure here is about 14.5 PSI or about 100 kilopascals. Now, gauge pressure is what everyone's familiar with, is here, for example, shown in a boost gauge. It's saying zero. Now, obviously, it's not 0 PSI outside, otherwise we'd be in trouble. So gauge pressure means the pressure relative to ambient pressure. And in this case, this gauge has been calibrated to 0 being standard atmospheric conditions at sea level, which is again 14.5 to 14.7 PSI of absolute pressure. Now, if we took this boost gauge and we went up the mountain, let's use Pikes Peak, for example, which is about 14,000 feet. As you go up the mountain, keep driving up, your pressures are dropping until you get to the top where it's probably only 8.5 PSI or 60 kilopascals of absolute pressure. To further the example, let's say you had a turbocharged car and the goal of the system was to maintain 14.7 PSI or 100 kPa of absolute pressure. So now if you're at sea level, that turbocharger is doing no work. Let's say you start driving up Pikes Peak, you turn off the turbocharger system, you get to the top so the pressure drops, your intake manifold, and now you switch on the system and its goal is to maintain 100 kPa or 14.7 PSI of absolute pressure in the manifold. You would see that pressure go up back to 0 gauge pressure, and what it's doing is maintaining the pressure that you had at sea level. So now you have the same horsepower at the top of Pikes Peak as you had when you were at sea level. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next video. We're going to cover compressor maps and a lot more cool stuff. So please visit amsturbo.com for more information.